Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say. And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security? In my opinion, y'all part of the hit. Why nobody's never been arrested? And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop, you come make a video and try to call somebody on your platform to try to discredit everything Suge say? And why you be selling Death Row t-shirts if you don't own Death Row? What kind of deal you and Snoop got? You need to go to jail. All right, so if Frank Alexander came to Suge personally and told him that he was paid to be part of the assassination of Tupac, right? And if everybody know this, and why do Snoop have a Nextel radio? And why did Reggie disarm the security?
What up? What up? What up?
In my opinion,
how's everybody doing?
y'all
How you doing? Hope everybody's
part of the
doing
hit.
fine today.
Why
Right?
nobody's never been arrested?
Yes. Why hasn't nobody been arrested?
And at the same time, right? Reggie, why every time Suge say something about Snoop?
This is true. This is true. Why is it that every time a video is made by Suge Knight, Reggie Wright immediately jumps onto set and attempts to bring somebody with him to discredit what it is that Suge is stating about his life? Not nobody else's life, his life. Now, Choke No Joke, this is my official reply to Choke No Joke. Choke No Joke, he responded to me. However, he did not say my name, and he made it be known that he clearly was responding to my video on him. So you can check that video out on what prompted him to make this video and to show fake proof on why Suge Knight was complicit in the ultimate demise of Tupac Shakur. Now we're going to get down into the nitty gritty. We're going to do sort of like a PowerPoint sort of kind of presentation. We're going to do things a little bit different because you have to understand what is going on. These people are muddying up the case for people who have not been following this case. If you have only been looking at little clips here and little clips there all throughout the years, you really don't know. You have to listen to the people who have been studying this, like myself, right? Discretion TV, shout out to Valentino, shout out to Machiavelli Media, right? I am not as in depth with Tupac, the whole Tupac scenario, like them gentlemen I just named, but I am a heavyweight when it comes to this. That's a fact. All right. And we're going to prove this right now. All right. So what's happening is this. In the beginning of it all, right, I'm going to present to you proof. I'm not going to just talk. We bringing facts. All right. We are bringing facts. All right, hold up. So in the beginning of it all, I'm not going to go into everything, but we're going to sum it up. In the beginning, you had the first initial cop that was on the case of the Notorious B.I.G. The Notorious B.I.G. case was very, very important because if you researched and did your investigation on the Notorious B.I.G. as a law enforcement agent, you had to segue into the Tupac case and conspiracy. So the tea leaves that was dropped in the Notorious B.I.G. case led Russell Poole to the Tupac case. Okay? Now, the funny thing is, Suge said years ago, he said he might have said it recently. He said, if you solve, I think he said this recently. He said, if you solve one, you're going to solve the other. Now, Russell Poole, I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about Russell Poole, stated that there were many, many red flags when it came to the Notorious B.I.G. case as well as the Tupac case. This man was so frustrated, he retired. And then when he found, because he didn't retire just to retire, he retired because of the corruption within his agency that stunk to high heaven. As he done that, as he retired, he didn't really retire. He kept on investigating the Notorious B.I.G. case. When Russell Poole came with new facts, because Russell Poole was working with back channel law enforcement agencies. Well, he was working the back channels with the law enforcement agencies, and the LAPD, which is Reggie Wright Jr.'s father, team summoned Russell Poole to their office in LAPD, which was the Rampart Division at that time, probably one of the most notorious corrupt police division in the United States. And Russell Poole went in there with his new evidence that he had, given a courtesy to the LAPD, and the man did not walk out alive. He supposedly had a heart attack in the freaking precinct. Now, I want to dive into Russell Poole, because you have Choke No Joke claiming that Suge Knight set up Tupac Shakur. Now, this was the narrative at first. So what's happening is Choke No Joke is attempting to take the old narrative that was debunked, blew to pieces, shot to pieces, because of this new internet space, and we have a plethora of new listeners and viewers. Choke No Joke feels that he can put this new rhetoric out and people are going to run with it, because again, they have not been studying this Tupac case or the Biggie case. As a matter of fact, some of them are just learning who Tupac and Biggie is. So if you air somebody like Choke No Joke with the salt and pepper beard, you're like, man, yeah, he sounds like he knows, what he's talking about. Yeah, he was affiliated with the Bad Boy Camp also. So he's with the Bad Boy Camp, but he know everything about what's going on with Suge Knight and Tupac. He's not with the Death Row Camp. He didn't have ties with the Death Row Camp. He has ties with Diddy. But he knows everything about what's going on with Tupac and Suge Knight. That's nice. That's funny. Now, let's deep dive. Let's get Russell Poole up on the stage. Russell Poole come back. Russell Poole is coming back from the dead to straighten this all out. All right. I don't want to hear nothing. No, this wasn't my man that I brought up on the stage. This wasn't some other YouTuber that had an opinion. No, we're not doing that. We're bringing the actual detective who was on the Notorious B.I.G. case. Now, let's listen to this. This is very, very important. All right? Very, very, very important. Let's share this.
Hi. We've got this big tape recorder. Who have we got on today?
Stevie Nicks.
Oh. I'm pleased we got you in your shorts.
This is the famous Russell Poole
Good.
coming back from the dead to straighten everything out. Let's go, Russ.
Cheekbone structure, whereas he looked a little sterner look.
Before I get into Russell real quick, right? Let me get you up to speed. Russell could not believe during his investigation with the Notorious B.I.G. Russell Poole could not believe that. First of all, Russell Poole came to the conclusion that Death Row Records hit Biggie and Pac. And not just Death Row Records, Russell Poole came to the conclusion that the LAPD was complicit with Death Row Records in the full cooperative, coordinated plot on Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. This is Russell Poole saying this. Russell Poole alleged that Suge Knight was a part of the hit. This is what Russell Poole alleged. But Russell Poole was given information from Reggie Wright Sr., from Reggie Wright Jr. The thing is, when Russell Poole started to do his own independent investigation, he started to feel like Reggie Wright Jr. was complicit. So he's like, hold on, if Reggie Wright Jr. if Death Row is complicit, Suge Knight has to be complicit. So this was Russell Poole's findings, that Suge Knight was complicit. Russell Poole went on a damn media campaign saying the way he felt, there's no doubt in his mind that Suge Knight, and along with Reggie Wright Jr., set up Tupac Shakur. That was Russell Poole. But then, as he started to investigate even further, the man came to the conclusion, this is Russell Poole now. Russell Poole came to the conclusion that Suge Knight was a victim. Suge Knight was a victim. He came to the conclusion that Suge Knight was a victim. Okay, Choke? Suge Knight was a victim. Reggie Wright Jr. allegedly, according to Russell Poole, attempted to take over the Death Row Company and get rid of Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur in one swoop, one whole kit and caboodle. Again, I have never in my life. Do you know how many weird scenarios we have experienced by either hearing about an experience or seeing it experienced on TV or social media? But you can't tell me one scenario, not even a movie. You can't even give me a fictional movie. You can't give me a fictitious movie, fictional, that will portray a mob boss putting a hit on a man, but the man is going to be riding shotgun, and they are going to Swiss cheese the car up. They're not going to just do 2 shots or 5. No. It's going to be well over 10 shots. I don't care what nobody say. I wouldn't put a damn sniper, all right, that close to me. Do you know how big Suge Knight is? Choke no joke. Pause. No Diddy. Do you know how big this guy Suge Knight is? Huh? Bro, he's taking up massive amount of space in that little freaking car that they were in, that little BMW. A massive amount of space. Let's move on real quick.
That's him right there.
And he still works for the
That's him.
probation.
That's him looking at the lineup.
That's the guy that came up to me. That guy. That guy right there.
Okay, so we got a witness saying David
Yeah,
Mack
we've seen his picture.
was there, and now we got a witness saying Harry Billups
That's
was there.
definitely him.
Amir Muhammad, aka Amir Muhammad.
Yep.
It's amazing.
What do you make of that?
I think it's a breakthrough in the case. I think this is another example of how incomplete the investigation is and how they have tried everything or done everything to avoid the truth in the matter. And I still, in my heart, believe that these types of clues and these types of statements made by witnesses need to be thoroughly followed up on. And I honestly believe that the players that we're talking about, David Mack and Amir Muhammad, are somehow involved in this case. And the department, time and time again, has avoided the truth. And when you add everything up, what other reason could there be?
Do you hear what he's saying?
Is because
This is Russell Poole, the head freaking detective on the Notorious B.I.G. case, the first. You mean to tell me you have Choke No Joke, Sideways Game TV, out here caping and pom-pomming for Diddy, but you solved the whole case, right? But never, not one time, did any of these gentlemen mention Russell Poole. You cannot mention this Tupac case or this Biggie case and not mention Russell Poole. This is like a historic, real live documentary going on right now, right? You cannot mention the Notorious B.I.G. case and the know-abouts of the Tupac case and not reference Russell Poole. How is it that Choke No Joke conveniently skips over Russell Poole as well as Snoop Dogg? He doesn't mention Snoop. None of these guys, if you notice, Sideways Game TV, any of these people that are caping for Diddy, none of these people mention Snoop. None of these people mention Snoop Dogg. But you have Russell Poole mentioning Snoop Dogg. You have Snoop Dogg in paperwork. Yeah, we'll pull that up. Choke, why didn't you mention the Snoop Dogg snitch paperwork when he attempted to snitch on Suge Knight, telling the authorities that Suge Knight did it when Suge Knight was locked up? You people really ganged up on Suge Knight really, really hard, and it's like this guy will not leave, right? It's like this guy will not leave out your hair. The guy is locked up and still causing all of you all type of stress. This is Russell talking. Let's go.
they do not want to expose to the public that Los Angeles police officers were involved in the conspiracy to kill Biggie Smalls.
The most amazing thing in this whole story is that Officer David Mack and Officer Rafael Perez have never been questioned in connection with the Biggie Smalls murder. Neither has Harry Billups, aka Amor Mohammed, who we tried to contact through his lawyer. If nothing else, their names should be cleared. The question now is, with Tupac and Biggie dead, will the killing machine carry on? There was a news report that Suge Knight had threatened Snoop Dogg, seen here together in happier days. Snoop apparently is now frightened for his life. We wondered if this document had anything to do with it. After a concert at Universal Studios, Snoop Dogg was attacked, kicked and punched by people working for Death Row. When asked by one of the deputies if he knew who had killed Tupac Shakur, Snoop said it was the man sitting next to Tupac. When asked if he meant Suge Knight, Snoop replied affirmatively. Suge Knight's prison has come back.
Excuse me. Choke, no joke. Did you just hear that? Why aren't any of you gentlemen mentioning that Snoop Dogg attempted to snitch and he did snitch? Or, you know, as far as giving a statement and talking to the authorities behind the scenes. This is all confidential paperwork and confidential intel that has been made public, that has been declassified. Why are you not speaking about this, Choke? What's up with that? What's up with that? Sideways Game TV. You over here talking about Reggie Rat is a known rat. Reggie Wright was an actual cop. He was in that, like, you know, he don't have no problem with like locking people up and throwing them in the jail cell. We know he's a cop. So like to call him a rat is like kind of stupid. He's a cop. No matter what, he's a cop. Even if he did some criminal actions, he's still a cop. Ain't no criminal going to be a cop, bruh. All right, there's not going to be a person that has that hood type mindset and they're going to be a cop. That ain't happening. Yeah, you can have a cop that does some criminal things, but he's not in that boat like that. No, not at all. Come on, man. Let's move on. You're not mentioning him. Why are you not talking about Snoop? You're not talking about Snoop?
Who I'm having to negotiate with to interview Suge.
You're not talking about Russell
I'm dealing with this man, Reggie Jr., seen here.
And you're going right to Suge Knight trying to pull up this old.
Knight. Snoop replied affirmatively. Suge Knight's prison has come back, giving us permission to film. But I'm having problems with Death Row, who I'm having to negotiate with to interview Suge Knight. I'm dealing with this man, Reggie Jr., seen here second left, who's been running Death Row since Suge Knight's been in prison. Reggie Jr.
Did you just hear what he just said? So this man is attempting to interview Suge Knight. The prison said yes. They gave Suge Knight the approval to interview about Tupac. Okay? But who was giving this guy the runaround and attempting to put all type of stumbling blocks and block Suge Knight from speaking his truth since he's been locked up? Reggie Wright Jr. Let's move forward. So again, choke no joke. How is it that Reggie Wright Jr. is working in concert with Suge Knight, but when approached to speak about Tupac, when Suge Knight is approached to speak about Tupac, Reggie Wright blocks it or attempts to block it? Why is that? Why? I mean, come on. What's up? We have this proof right here. I ain't say this. Let's go.
Jr. is the son of Reggie Sr., who with so much second left, who's been running Death Row since Suge Knight's been in prison. Reggie Jr. is the son of Reggie Sr., who with so much admired and interviewed in Compton. Reggie Jr. had followed in his father's footsteps and also became a and has come back, giving us permission to film. But I'm having problems with Death Row, who I'm having to negotiate with to interview Suge Knight, next to Tupac. When asked if he meant Suge Knight, Snoop replied affirmatively. Suge Knight's prison has come back, giving us permission to film. But I'm having problems with Death Row, who I'm having to negotiate with to interview Suge Knight.
This is
Dealing with
years ago. These interviews and this right here, this is years ago. This is before YouTube. These people were doing hardcore journalism. Okay? These people were doing it, and they were getting all type of runarounds. And then when the internet come, you know, and Reggie Wright try to get on there and spin his own narrative, it's like, wow, believe, it's like a muddy, it's like a back and forth thing. But those who stay true and understand, it's no everything. It's very, very clear and vivid. There are these people that are now YouTubing on Tupac, and blocking or attempting to cape for Diddy. These people are muddying the waters. These people are bringing up facts that were totally shot to pieces and debunked by law enforcement professionals. Okay, point blank, period. Okay, let's move forward.
with this man, Reggie Jr., seen here second left, who's been running Death Row since Suge Knight's been in prison. Reggie Jr. is the son of Reggie Sr., who we'd so much admired and interviewed in Compton. Reggie Jr. had followed in his father's footsteps and also became a police officer before running Death Row. I remembered what Hackey had said about Reggie Jr. They'd served as Compton police officers together.
If Reggie and I ever met one-on-one, I think it would probably be who's going to draw first.
The other unfortunate thing was that Reggie didn't seem to be a great fan of my films.
Because I don't want none of this Heidi Feist bullshit tape that you did, where you go and the whole thing was to show how you were so slick to get to Heidi, and everybody around Heidi was bumbling fools. And if you don't say that's how your documentary went on Heidi, then you're not an honest man. And
well, I hope that this will
I don't want that to be.
I hope this will be a much better film than the Heidi Fleiss film.
I hope so as well.
Oh, you thought it was really bad?
I did see that. My whole point is, don't use us to get that type of work done.
No, I mean,
you just be straight with us, and we'll tell you what we can and can't do.
Well,
a lot of things we don't mind speaking. We don't like speaking on the Tupac thing because that's an unfortunate thing that happened.
Unfortunately, Reggie was insisting that a Death Row representative attend the interview.
I mean, I would gladly take him in there, and it's just that's not my decision.
Okay, well, see what you can do to help him get approved. And if you can't, then you can go. But I can assure you, Mr. Knight, or any guys that's I can probably even say any guys that's black in the prison won't be speaking to you.
Why, really?
I guarantee you that.
I think it's the journalists who are going to end up solving this case, because the police departments aren't put.
What do you have to say about this, Choke Man? Huh? What do you have to say about this? This is Russell Poole. This is not another YouTuber with their own opinion. This is Russell Poole, the first detective on the Notorious B.I.G. case, and he came with it. He came with it. Let's move on right along. All right. And he's still coming with, and he is coming with the thunder right now. Seriously. Cooking. Debunking everything that this guy is over here talking about. All right, hold on. Let's go over there. Yeah. Debunking everything. Russell Poole over here cooking, smoking their boots. We're going to get into another. Oh yeah. Wait. Smoking their boots, cooking his narrative. Choke no joke over here, coming up with some weak narrative. Right? Watch right now. Watch me cook this narrative even more. I'm gonna cook it like rotisserie. Watch this. And we're talking about pure proof, facts, only facts, no opinions, only facts. Give me 1 second. Pulling up right now for you. Oh, okay. Okay. Give me 1 second. Check this out. How is it going this way? All right. Let me fix this. Hold on. Fix this. Okay. All right. All right. I'm pulling up this other clip. Hold on. All right.
This is a J Mix exclusive.
Hello, everyone. It's J Mix here with TupacNation.net.
All right.
And this week we bring you
Okay.
a very special interview. With
I have some new software, so I've been like, I'm still
Pool spent
working
9
out the
years
kinks,
as a
trying to
homicide
learn how to
investigator
flip
with
back and forth and
LAPD,
all of that good
had a
stuff.
career
But
that spanned 18 years.
check this out. Seriously.
He served as a primary investigator.
Check this out. Check this out, because you want to talk about Greg Caden. You want to bring up Greg Caden. You want to bring up all of this cap, Keefe, D, and all. This is all cap. We about to debunk this right now. Greg Caden was, I told you yesterday on yesterday's stream, Greg Caden was complicit. Greg Caden is complicit. These people are bought and paid off. Watch. I got the proof right here. Let's go.
135 homicide cases and assisted on over 500.
The man did 135 homicide cases, bruh. This man, I would say, is well versed at what it is that he does. You know what it is that he do. Let's go.
He is more notably known as being the lead investigator on the Christopher Wallace murder.
Y'all heard that? He's known for being the lead investigator. I told you this. Let's go. I don't want to hear no opinions from no other YouTubers right now. All right, especially when they're attempting to spin these narratives. I want to hear from the damn cop that was on the case. How about that? How about that one, y'all? Can we do that? Let's do that.
You may remember seeing Russ Poole in the Nick Broomfield documentary, Biggie versus Tupac, or you may have read his book.
Let's move forward.
The police never interviewed, and
Tupac and Christopher Wallace.
yeah, it's great because eventually I think it's the journalists are going to end up solving this case, because the police departments aren't putting the effort in to first of all, they're not listening to people. There are witnesses out there that the police never interviewed, and I just pretty much figure the police right now aren't going to do it. But what we can do is force them to do it by coming up with the information ourselves.
And this guy started to do just that, and then walked up into a precinct and never came home. Never came home alive. Never was alive again. Let's go.
And then getting it documented, and then taking it to the right people. And I know a lot of people that are interested in doing something about it here in the judicial system. Anyway, it's just.
I'm gonna let this rock for a second. Pay attention. Pay close attention. Choke no joke. I don't want to hear nothing after this. I don't want to hear that crappy narrative you trying to spin on Suge. Let's go.
A couple of clues away from at least Tupac Tupac's case for sure. A lot of strong evidence on that. Right now, I feel because the journalism is still interested in the Biggie and the Tupac case, I believe that it's the journalists are going to be the ones to actually solve this case, because right now the police departments aren't interested in pursuing either case. I think it's great that the journalists and the people out there are still interested. As a matter of fact, we just got through on current TV. They had Biggie and Tupac on there just a couple hours ago, and my partner that I'm working with never saw it, so he watched it and thought it was interesting. But anyway, I found over the since I left LAPD that journalism has done an excellent job to keep these cases in the forefront.
Do you think that the LAPD's priority lies in solving these murders or burying the facts of these murders?
Well, I think they would like to, if there was a possibility to solve it, they'd like to get it out of their hair and get it solved. But I think that they believe, I mean, there's so many millions of pages and a lot of work over the years has been done. And there's lots of different clues. And I think any prosecutor that actually got the case would have to sift through all those files when it should be very simple. The murder case itself is just a very simple investigation. But when you have a high-profile case, you've got like files and files, which will become discovery at trial. So it's a nightmare for any prosecutor. And it's a nightmare for any detective. That's why you got to have a little bit extra on these cases. You got to have you got to have that smoking gun and able to present that case to a jury.
Do you foresee a prosecution in these cases?
With all the different clues and different theories that have been spoken about over the years, it will be a nightmare in trial. So that's why you almost need a smoking gun, so a judge can take a look at that and say, none of this other stuff is relevant. We're sticking with this. That's what they need to do, is streamline it. But right now, I believe prosecutors and police, and both Las Vegas and LAPD, I think they would love to have this thing solved, but it's a discovery nightmare. And also, you've had the Rampart scandal. You've had some corruption involved. So you're going to have like police officers saying that this is what happened, and then you're going to have other police officers saying, no, I don't think that happened that way. So you see how mixed it can be. You had certain leaders like Parks, and then you got Charlie Beck in there, and you had Bratton, and they all got different philosophies on the case. So it is a nightmare as far as prosecution, but there is a way to solve it without even going to trial. It'll be hard to do. The way we do it is if you've got the evidence, but in the interest of justice, they're not going to file charges against the individual, even though they believe this individual is responsible. And the reason why I say that, a lot of times your key witnesses have been killed or murdered, but you have the evidence on paper, and it shows that this person is responsible for it, but we can't take him to trial because he can't face these key witnesses who are not available for court. And so I've done this before because some of my key witnesses were murdered along the way.
It's going to get interesting. Check it out.
And it's just the way the justice system is.
Watch. Okay.
If
He's heating up. He's
key
about to heat up now.
Let's say a key witness made a statement years ago, and then you finally solve the case, but some of your key witnesses over the last 10 years have been killed. There's certain rules and certain laws that prevent the case from being filed in the first place, because those witnesses are no longer available and cannot face cross-examination in a court trial.
Speaking on
That's right. And conveniently, I don't know what happened with that whole thing, but you know, Frank Alexander was, you know, he unalived himself allegedly. And I mean, that was pretty weird. But a lot of people were taken out after Tupac passed away. All right. It's like witnesses were clean. It's like house was being cleaned. So it's like, how do the number one rapper in the world, the number one celebrity in the world, get killed on arguably one of the more popular streets and strips here in the United States? And then the witnesses right after that, they get killed. We have the best intelligence in the world here in America regarding law enforcement, the best. And I mean, you can find out what happened to Deshaun and Michael and Lil Scrap, but you can't find out what happened to the number one celebrity in the world. You still can't find out what happened to him. That is because, my friend, it was an LAPD cover-up. Not only that, the same division that Reggie Wright worked for, him and his father, it was axed, which is wholeheartedly rare for a division to get axed. No, they may axe a few officers and make them resign or something like that, but they're not going to dissolve the entire division. This is how corrupt this division. This is the historic Rampart division. This is where Russell Poole was going up against. And this is why he interpreted the actions of Death Row to correlate with Suge Knight at the time. But then swiftly realized that Suge Knight was not the perp. Suge Knight was the victim. Choke, no joke. You cannot give me any of, I don't want to hear the 10 years later remix of what happened to Tupac. I'm giving you the nitty gritty. What happened immediately. Russell Poole was still alive right here. This case was fresh still. Even after Russell, come on, bro. Let's go.
on different philosophies, I wanted to ask you about a certain one.
Okay.
There is a review on Amazon for a book called Murder Rap, written by a man named Greg Kading. In the
Greg
review
Kading.
section, there is a scathing.
Greg Kading. What did I say yesterday? I said the Greg Kading was one of the most crookedest cops out there in LA. Now let's listen to Detective Russell Poole.
Scathing review from a Detective Russell Poole. Did you write that review?
What does the review say?
The review reads as follows. Greg Kading has no credibility on this subject matter. He became a task force member on the Biggie case 10 years after the fact. Kading left the LAPD in disgrace for his false testimony on a federal murder and racketeering case, United States versus George Torres Ramos, CRO 656A. Guilty verdicts were overturned in this part due to Kading's testimony. He said LAPD cleared him of those charges, but
Wait, people. Wait, people. Wait. Hold on. Let me hold on. Let me get up on here with y'all. Hold up real quick. Hold up. Greg Kading, y'all, is the actual author of the whole gang conspiracy with Tupac. This was authored by Greg Caden 10 years after Tupac was taken out. 10 years, a whole decade. His findings was, Tupac got into gang violence. He didn't understand gang culture, and he was such a novice and rookie. And this is what the result of being a novice and rookie in gang violence does. So, hey, nothing to see here. Let's moving right along. Nothing to see here, bruh. The cops were a team. Do you remember the Denzel movie when Denzel was playing in Training Day? Brother, the character he was playing was David Mack, or it could have been Rafael Perez, but it was one of those two. Okay, and who are they? They are friends with Reggie Wright Jr. They were on the Rampart division. I want to say that is Rafael Perez is the one locked up right now. Yeah, he's the one locked up right now. He's the one that Denzel actually basically portrayed in Training Day, y'all. This is what we're dealing with. Did you see that corrupt cop in Training Day, y'all? Excuse me. Did you see the corrupt cop in Training Day that Denzel played? This is what we're dealing with Tupac and Suge Knight. Suge Knight was a victim. Yes, okay, let's go with your narrative, Choke No Joke, that Tupac had a fight with Suge Knight or had an argument and dispute with Suge Knight. Let's go with that. Let's say Tupac was so upset with Suge, but not what he was. See, this is what you're not telling the audience. Tupac wasn't upset with Suge. Tupac was upset with Snoop and the Dog Pound. Pac wanted to mash Snoop. Suge was holding Pac back. This is what was going on. Suge was holding Pac. Pac wanted to mash. Therefore, Pac wanted Suge to mash too. If I'm mashing, nigga, you mashing too. Suge probably was reserved because those are still Suge artists also. And Pac, like, you knowing Pac, Hot Wire, you know what? Fuck the deal. Forget the deal. You know what? You can have your records. You good? Listen, I'm good. I'm walking. Keep it. Listen, I'm out of here. That I can see Pac getting superficial upset like that. Because remember, he was not mad at Suge. He was really mad at Snoop. Period. Okay, let's say that Pac did want to get off the label. It's not because of, Suge was doing the most of Tupac. Yes, Tupac ordered on what he wanted and everything like that. Because yes, Suge was taking certain funds. He wasn't taking Tupac, but he was Suge was doing a lot of co-mingling of funds. If you know that, he was doing a lot of co-mingling. Nate Dogg was on his roster, so Suge was using some of Pac's money to pay Nate Dogg's damn child support, right? Keeping Nate Dogg out on the streets. But in my opinion, Suge was taking from Peter to pay Paul, and then he was going to recoup and get, and pay Pac back. But Suge is a boss, and he's doing what he has to do. He is keeping his label up and running. Suge is the one that came and rescued Pac. Suge is the one that clothed Pac. Not Interscope. Interscope was trying to damn bury Pac. Suge came and saved Pac. Suge came and put him back in limos. Suge came, put him back in that studio and got with it when he was facing rape charges. Y'all, you crazy? And it was that was the police thing at that time, bro. They was just setting people up like water, bro, at that time, bro. Like water. Why do you think so many people now, if you look on the internet, so many people are coming home now and getting big lawsuits because of that era of the setup from law enforcement, bro? Look at Training Day, bro. And you think that was just a regular movie? That was a real, actual happening. That was really happening in those streets of LA with these crooked cops. Pac was talking about it all in his rhymes. Yes, he had a problem with Snoop Dogg, and yes, he had gotten to a discrepancy with Suge Knight, but that didn't mean that Suge Knight was going to take him out just because Pac probably wanted to leave the label, but it wasn't that he wanted to leave. And this is the thing. So you mean to tell me Pac just creates Death Row East and he's just going to leave the label? Does that make any sense, Choke No Joke? Choke No Joke tries to shoot at me, I'm talking about, yeah, Pac was down there with the pole screaming Death Row East and all. Yes, he was down in New York with the Death Row East sign promoting Death Row East. So you mean to tell me he was gonna? Okay. You mean to tell me that he was just going to just leave Death Row East and let it promote and just leave it to Eric B and them, just let them handle it, right? Nah. Okay. A few days later, he gets into an argument with Suge Knight. Yeah, yo, you know what? Forget that. Keep the record label. You know what I mean? Keep it. I'm out of here. Because Suge Knight didn't want to mash on Snoop Dogg. Pac was heated. Did you not? Snoop, he didn't come in like, yo, what's up? My books and all that. You know, nah, he came in like, yo, what's up with Snoop? This nigga just violated, bro, on the radio. What are you talking about? Suge told you out his own mouth. Tupac came at me. Michael Moore alluded to the same thing. They said they were both at each other's necks. But Suge didn't get in his face. Tupac got in shit face. Tupac was the one with the problem. That was a stupid video to put up, Choke No Joke, because Michael Moore is telling you people that Suge Knight didn't want no problem with Pac. Pac was wilding. He like, yo, stay in here, please. Just stay in here. Michael Moore said he had the feeling of, you know, because Suge Knight, you know, probably wanted to pounce on Pac because Pac, he was making him, you know, he was getting them upset. But nah, I was feeling like, yo, Suge Knight wanted Michael Moore, he know freaking Tupac. Tupac will freaking go off. Tupac is really mad right now. Tupac's upset right now. Tupac is going off right now. Michael Moore told you. He said when Tupac and Suge normally talk business, they normally say, all right, Michael, step out the room. He said this time, Mr. Knight said, Michael, do not leave. Stay right here. Why would Suge say that? If Suge wants to pounce on this guy, why wouldn't he get that big, tough bodyguard to just leave? So he can just have his way with Pac. Why? Because he know Pac. If this nigga Mike leave right now, it's probably going to be a fight. And I'm not going to start it. It's going to be Pac. Pac going to start it. But shit, I'm going to defend myself. So Choke No Joke putting up that video, it's water under the bridge. It doesn't mean a hill of beans. Water came and it's gone. That doesn't mean anything. Nothing.
But that is not entirely true. Kading also had some help writing this book from disgraced LA Times reporter Chuck Phillips. Kading forgets there are actual eyewitnesses to Biggie's killing. He spends a lot of time talking about things he knows nothing about. This is a desperate attempt.
Yeah, we cooking tonight. I don't want to hear that crap. I don't want to hear nothing. We cooking tonight. I'm gonna let Russell cook right now. I'm gonna let Russell cook right now. This is not no YouTuber. I don't want to hear that freaking nasty ass narrative that these people are cooking up right now, coming up with a 10-old decade damn narrative that was cooked up 10 years after Tupac was taken out. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear no stinking YouTuber coming up with some stinking old narrative trying to pay for damn RuPaul Diddy. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear from the detective. I want to hear from the files. I want the facts. Do you hear that, Sideways Game TV? We bringing the facts. You hear that, Choke No Joke? We bringing the facts. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. You can't keep talking about Tupac and damn Biggie and not mention Russell Poole. What the freak are you mentioning Greg Caden for? You buster. I know you're all compromised. But you're all gonna feel the wrath of God. God not having this. That's why you still can't get rid of Suge Knight, because God is not allowing you to get away with this. How is it that damn near 30 years, damn 20, I don't know how many years later, but a lot. And we still on this? Not us. Law enforcement, damn, you got Keefe in there. Now they done dragged damn Reggie Wright. Nigga, we gonna find out the truth. We gonna find out, Choke No Joke. Reggie Wright gotta go to court February 22nd, bruh. You gonna find out right there. If Suge had anything to do with that nigga, I guarantee you, Reggie Wright gonna be singing. Reggie Wright gonna be singing. But guess what? Reggie Wright ain't said a damn thing about no damn Tupac, being up in there. He ain't said a damn thing about that. The only time Reggie tried to allude to a Suge Knight, it was because of the murder rap narrative that was put on by these phony, fictitious Avengers like Greg Caden, spinning this nasty documentary called Murder Rap. This is where you get your narrative from Murder Rap. Freaking a decade after Tupac was taken out, bro. From a crooked ass cop, bro. And that's not alleged. This guy is notorious crooked. This guy's like them damn on training day. But he's white. And this is the narrative you going with, you and CNN, you're running with those narratives. He was in some gang. And then you get this buster, Mob James, getting on there talking about, yeah, man, Tupac didn't understand the gang warfare and all that, you know? Mob James is Mob James make me want to throw up, man. He's a nasty buster, bro. He's a stinking nasty, he's a let me not spill my emotion on this, right? I don't want to spew emotion on this, right? Like Jadakiss said, I don't want to sound mad. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to sound mad. You know what I'm saying? Let me not do that, because Mob James, he did used to make me feel like that. He don't make me feel like that no more. He don't make me feel, because I can't be getting emotional with these people, because I left all of it in God's hands. I don't get emotional no more with this. I left it in God's hands. God gonna take care of this. God gonna take care of you. And choke no joke, you over here caping for Roop or Diddy. What you think about to happen? What you think about to happen?
For Kading to salvage his reputation. Suge Knight is a suspect, but not for the reasons Kading talks about. In closing, Kading never attempted to interview me regarding my Biggie investigation. He makes a lot of false statements about me and my part in the investigation by retired LAPD homicide detective Russell Poole.
Yeah, I wrote that. And I stand by it. Yeah, I stand by it.
This guy damn near had 200 homicide cases under his belt right here. Over 200 damn homicide cases under his belt. This little peewee just became a damn detective. This crooked ass cop called Greg Kading, and he is the one that cooked up your Tupac narrative, damn dear brothers and sisters. Point blank, period. Along with the help of Reggie Wright Jr. Okay, let's roll. This is not being alleged. This is not coming from some damn YouTuber. It's not coming from some YouTuber, y'all. Don't give me that choke no joke. We bringing straight facts. You cannot mention Tupac and Biggie and just completely disregard Russell Poole. That is blasphemous. That's blasphemous, and it's a arrogant, nasty injustice to hip hop in our culture. Point blank, period. Let's move.
By that statement, yeah, he has no credibility. I couldn't trust him to work with him on the police department. He's self-absorbed, just like the LA Times reporter.
I'm trying, y'all. I'm trying to let y'all get through this. I'm gonna get through this real quick with y'all, but I have to stop him because he's just cooking. You know, the guy is laying it out. The same damn cop, dirty ass cop that cooked up dirt. Not only cooked it up. This dirty ass cop made a book about Pac. Got rich off of Pac. Got famous off of Pac. This dirty ass cop, dirty, and was down with the complicitness of getting after Tupac. We're talking about Greg Kading. And then the detective who was actually going directly for these people went into these people damn precinct and did not come out alive. Frank Alexander started to make a case about Suge Knight and all of this, and Suge, yeah, I think Suge Knight did it, then I don't think he did it, and then, oh yeah, Suge Knight, yeah, no, then I don't think he did it, then I think he did it. This is Frank Alexander. And then at the end of it, Frank Alexander told Suge Knight that he was paid off and he helped take out Tupac Shakur. Now, if you look at Frank Anders' freaking interviews, that nigga did look freaking like guilty. Like he felt guilty. Like he felt guilty. Look at some of the interviews with Frank Alexander and on This Is 50. On this50.com. Look at some of the interviews with Frank. He looked, I'm not going to say that he didn't have issues with his wife or I'm not going to say that he wasn't stressed out about Reggie Wright threatening his life. I'm not going to say that. But he did admit guilt. Check his book out. He did admit guilt to Tupac. He said he failed Tupac. He did. He failed Tupac. Let me ask you something. If Frank Alexander was in the car behind Tupac, right? How the fuck does he fail Tupac if he's in a car behind Tupac with no gun? They were instructed by Reggie Wright Jr. not to have any guns. So how is it that he failed Tupac? He failed Tupac because he was down with the damn hit. He admitted that. He admitted that, but unfortunately, he was taken out of here. All of these witnesses gone. And not only was he taken out, Reggie Wright still tap dances on this man's grave to this date. He talks vile about this guy, and the guy is dead and gone because Reggie has to pounce on the legacy of Frank Alexander because Frank Alexander told the truth eventually. This is nasty work, but it's why I don't get emotional no more because I know God is taking care of it. And as soon as I stop getting emotional about it and letting it go, God, it's like, wow, they wrapped up Keefy D. Keefy D now yanks in Reggie Wright Jr. I'm like, whoa, okay, God, I see you working. Okay. Then I add Diddy, even though they just cleared Diddy's name, but still, they still brought his name in it. And he's still not clear of it. They just cleared him right there. But he's still not clear of the Tupac case. They can still bring him in if they find some new evidence. But I ain't worried about that because God taking care of that. That's God's program, baby. I'm just sitting here watching the damn movie. Like you talking about Choke No Joke. Come, you should see. I was gonna play Choke No Jokes live stream, but I had got to this already. But I'm not even gonna play that. But you should see in his stream his proof on that Suge Knight. It's so nasty and so disgustingly weak. This is the real proof right here. I'm cutting up all of who you're talking about. I'm cutting up Greg Caden's whole theory. See, this guy, Choke No Joke, is attempting to still keep Reggie Wright Jr. and Suge Knight in the same boat. So anytime Choke No Joke mentions Reggie Wright Jr., yes, it sounds doable. It sounds plausible. But Suge Knight was not a part. Suge Knight was the actual victim. And this is where Choke No Joke is getting in here and attempting to twist and turn. Because he's not mentioning Russell Poole. Russell Poole findings found that Suge Knight was a victim. What are you talking about, Choke No Joke? Get out of here, trying to sit up here like he gonna play this weak thing, this weak old video and go like this, like he did something. Get out of here. You're disgusting. You disgust me. Let's go.
Chuck Phillips, and they were working together on that book he did. There's no question in my mind.
See?
I feel personally that the LAPD has.
He's self-absorbed, just like the LA Times reporter Chuck Phillips, and they were working together on that book he did. There's no question in my mind.
I feel personally that the LAPD has whitewashed the Christopher Wallace investigation by clearing Greg Kading in the Torres case. Do you feel that this has tainted the Christopher Wallace case?
Here's what happens when something like that happens, is they give him a choice to retire, resign, or leave, or we'll continue this investigation. Now, if they do an investigation, when he comes to federal court, he's representing not only the case that he's working, he's representing the Los Angeles Police Department. So internal affairs can conclude their investigation any way they want to conclude it. And he was forced to leave. And so in their conclusion, they figure they got nothing to lose. Okay, the suspects, it would be an embarrassment for the LAPD to reveal that their detective on this case was responsible for releasing this killer. Because you got to remember this.
This is the nasty, nasty detective that these damn people have been running with as far as his theory on Tupac. This man found nothing. He interviewed no key witnesses. He interviewed nobody. We don't have record of Greg Kading truly doing interviews on. All right, he did interviews on BS people. Like it just he did nothing. I'm not saying that. You have the man that was on the case telling you this. No joke. Woo, cooking them, roasting them.
Kading worked on other cases. So if they were not to clear him and condemn him and this and that, they would have problems with all of his other cases. So it's a shame that that's the way the system is sometimes. But in my opinion, they basically just cleared it on there. He's no longer on the police department, so they don't have to worry about him anymore.
Yo, man.
However,
rest in peace to Russell Poole, man. Rest in peace, man. Such a legend. Russell Poole is a legend, and he is going to, I guarantee you, y'all, I'm saying it, you heard it here first. Russell Poole is going to be awarded for the actions that he took and his martyrdom that he took and the stance that he took for Tupac and Biggie. I believe that when Russell Poole went into that precinct, Russell Poole had a feeling that something was wrong, and I believe that Russell Poole knew that he was about to die. That's what I believe. But he went anyway, and he didn't have to go. Let's go, Russ.
Fine, he's a corrupt officer and he's lied on this. Well, maybe he lied on all the other cases. They didn't want to open that can of worms.
Greg has stated that he kept a copy of an alleged confession from Keefe D. Can he take that evidence with him when he is forced into retirement?
No, he's not supposed to, you're not, unless you have a good reason, like I say. His motivation, of course, right from the get-go was to write this book. And I believe that he and Chuck Phillips wrote this book. I mean, the guy is just he's not an honest guy. And if you I've talked to the U.S. attorneys out here that had that Kading case, and he's like, his name is Mud in the law enforcement circles. Greg Kading. He can't be trusted to testify in any case that he's involved in. I mean, that's one thing you can tell him. It says he lost his credibility when they had to release a convicted killer, and I guess he was a mobster, so they had to release him.
What do you think of the Tupac assassination films? I know you said that you're working with R.J. Bond.
Right. The ones that I did see, that's what got my attention, and I think they're excellent. I think they're well put together, and his interview techniques are excellent, and lost his credibility when they had to release a convicted killer, and I guess he was a mobster, so they had to release him.
What do you think of the Tupac assassination films? I know you said that you're working with R.J. Bond.
Right. The ones that I did see, that's what got my attention, and I think they're excellent. I think they're well put together, and his interview techniques are excellent. And
so you hear Russell Poole giving credit and praise to Roger Bond or RJ Bond. And yesterday, Choke No Joke, when Choke No Joke was replying to me, he brought up RJ Bond, and he said that I had to call up RJ Bond like, yo, send that clip that you had. Send that raw. I need the raw, unedited clip. And it was it was nothing. It was nothing. There was nothing. Just spinning the narrative. This is so nasty. But RJ Bond is not down with this nastiness. He just sent over the copy of the video that Choke No Joke requested, which was absolutely nothing. I mean, it was because if you don't know this, if you don't know about Russell Poole, you really be confused. You'd be like, oh yeah, that does make sense. The way because they have it. Remember, it's a team of freaking police that worked in concert together. So it makes sense is regarding the narrative that they all put together. If they're all saying it and they're all on code, and they all have been on code for years. But we're pushing back like, nah, that don't make sense. Hold on. That don't make sense. And if it don't make sense, it don't make sense. Something is wrong. No, something's wrong. No, the security that was guarding Tupac should not have been de-weaponized. No, that doesn't make sense. Why did the attorney tell these people, Reggie Wright's staff not to bring their weapons with them to Vegas, and was emphatically on them about it? Why? Why did they keep doing that? Ask yourself. Ask. Why did they keep doing? Why? What? And the same guy that you put up on the screen, choke no joke, right? And who when he was being interviewed by Frank Alexander, same guy you put up on the screen is the same guy that said was fishy. Is why is it that attorney that told us to not bring our guns to Vegas, come to find out he's not an attorney? So, and this is the same guy that you put up there yesterday, Choke. Again, if you don't know this information, like from the back end, from the early parts of the Tupac and Biggie case, you won't really know. A lot of key evidence that was on YouTube was scrubbed. That's why you could be like, well, damn, you wasn't over there, Warzone. How do you know? There was so much information on YouTube, bruh. It was like right in our face. And we could put it together. It was so nasty. So Reggie Wright and his boys and his team, a lot of these people work behind the scenes to get a lot of this information scrubbed offline. Period. Because you can't find it now. A lot of it you can, a lot of it some people saved. That's why a lot of the information is still out there. There's enough information out there that we can put together a credible case going up against the narratives cooked up for the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac. Let's roll, Russ.
And a lot of the people that were interviewed were never interviewed by the police. You know, when clues come in, you're supposed to follow up on these clues. And
Rand, what's good, Rand?
Knows that
peace and love to
they
you.
Haven't really followed up on many leads. So I do believe that Suge Knight and Reggie Wright Jr. are responsible. I think the evidence is clear for the Tupac Shakur case. I also believe he's responsible. Both of them are responsible for the hit on Biggie also. But I think the evidence in Tupac is mounting and building. If you can get all the people that.
So again, before I put this on, I'll let you know that Russell Poole was onto the evidence that he had showed that Death Row was complicit in the actual death of Tupac Shakur. Death Row along with the LAPD. So in Russell Poole's words, when I thought, this is Russell Poole, quote, when I thought, or when you think of Death Row, you think of Suge Knight. So Russell could not get out of his mind, if Death Row is a part of this, Suge Knight has to be a part of this. But then when Russell Poole changed his freaking tone and said, no, 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 no. I gotta apologize. I gotta apologize. Suge Knight was the victim. This is what Russell Poole said. Suge Knight was the victim. Then after that, that's when, because Russell Poole came across some new evidence. This is when Russell Poole was summoned to the LA Rampart Division office, field office, and never came out alive. This is what happened.
Talked to Tupac before his death, and then some of the key people. Frank Alexander was a key person, but and a lot of his stuff is documented. You see what I mean? He's a key witness,
But he's gone.
and he's no longer here to
Right.
testify on the stand in the case. So we need to take this case out of LA, and we need to take the Tupac case out of Las Vegas, and we need to put something together and then go to somebody independent and have them look at the facts.
And it's coming. It's definitely coming, because there's a lot of lawsuits that's going to be coming. It's just going to be a lot of lawsuits. After this Keefe D case, you best to believe the Tupac estate is coming. They're coming for that super suit. You better believe that. And it's just going to open up a can of worms. When the civil suit comes, it's going to open up a new case. I just don't see how Reggie is going to, get out of this web right here. I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see if Suge Knight had anything to do with this. Him going after Reggie right now. I that doesn't bode well for Suge Knight moving forward. Why would Suge Knight go after Reggie Wright Jr. if he was in concert with Reggie Wright Jr.? You don't do that with a co-defendant. If you had a co-defendant and you know that's your co-D, you're not going up against your co-D. Y'all gonna be on code together, and y'all out, and y'all been out for years. All of a sudden, y'all gonna go, bro. If one go down, another is definitely gonna go down. Come on, dog. I mean, it has to be proven, but come on, let's be serious here. Hey, man, I love you all except for the ones I don't. Peace.